It's a very good evening and welcome back to another pre-match show here at the Poundland Bescott Stadium for our second competitive fixture of the 22-23 season here at home. It's been a very good start to the season for Michael Flynn and the team, with 5 goals scored and no goals conceded in those opening 2 games against Hartlepool and Newport. We're back here tonight at the Poundland Bescott Stadium for the first round of the Carabao Cup as we welcome Swindon Town. If the game is a draw, it will go straight to penalties, so please don't leave if it is a draw. You might miss the best of the action. Manager Michael Flynn has got quite the reputation for having a good cup run, so let's hope it can continue here this evening. We've got a few bits of information for you before you do come to the stadium this evening. We'd like to advise supporters that there will be no stadium suite in operation this evening, as it is just the lower of the stand behind me, the Poundland stand, that will be open, as well as the main stand here, which is just to my right hand side. If you are in this main stand, you will have the kiosk which is open, the concession unit which is just in the undercroft, which is towards the end and then will be on the right. It will be signposted and you will be able to access it during the game and before the game as well. The community hub that I did mention will be open before the match, during the match at half time and after the match, so if you do want a drink, please head over there and grab yourself a pint, a Coke, whatever it is that you want to enjoy. I think that pretty much covers everything for the information points, but I would also like to advise supporters that if you are around the ground on the outside and you want to pick up a copy of Sadler's Shout, make sure you do. It's got a little note from our co-chairman Ben Boycott and Lee Pomlett, as well as a little welcome message from head coach Michael Flynn. During today's pre-match show, we are going to be looking back mainly at 2 previous games. We've got an away game which we will talk about shortly. But to start us off with, if you want to enjoy this one, we're going to take a look back at a previous win over Swindon Town. It was back on Easter Monday in 2017 and Joe Edwards scored the winner in the 85th minute. So here you are, enjoy those highlights. Were the highlights of that 1-0 victory on Easter Monday here at home against this evening's opponent, Swindon Town. Joe Edwards scoring the winner in that game. Let's hope it's another victory for Michael Flynn and his side this evening as we look to get ourselves into the hat for the second round draw, which is due to take place tomorrow following the conclusion of the Wednesday night games in the trophy. Next up, we're going to take a look back at this weekend, just gone, the game against Newport. We're going to take a look back at those highlights. And we're still a little bit confused as to who got the final touch on the goal. Is it Timmy Abraham? He's claiming it. Is it Peter Clark? He's claiming it. Or is it an own goal? You take a look back at those and let us know who you thought it was. So those were the highlights from that win at the weekend against Newport. It was fantastic to see 857 Saddlers fans back on the road. If you want to join us on the road again soon, we have got tickets available for our upcoming away games against Barrow, which is on Tuesday the 16th, and for Gillingham, which is on Saturday the 20th. Please note though, if you are buying tickets for the Gillingham game, you have to do it through the Gillingham website. All of that information for away tickets is available on our website. There's plenty of handy guides on there as well, especially for the Gillingham game, because it can be a little bit of a minefield as well. Speaking of tickets, if you want to get tickets for our upcoming home game against Stevenage this weekend, please do so. All you've got to do is go onto our e-ticketing website for a bit of ease online. You can buy them on there, or you can buy them via our ticket office. All you've got to do is either pop up to the window or call us on 01922 651 416. Before I'm joined this evening on our pre-match show by my colleague Paul Joannou as we chew the fat in regards to the Newport game and that fantastic win against Hartlepool here last time out, we are now going to take a look back at a brief update from our co-chairman Ben Boycott. He's over from America, as well as Lee Pomley. I caught up with them earlier today at the training ground as they provided an update on the squad, whether there's going to be any more additions, amongst other things. Ben and Lee, thank you both for joining us for a joint update here. We go straight into the team side of things. It's been a pretty positive start to life in League Two this season. Are you both pleased with the start that Michael and the team have made?
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't be? You know, 2 wins, contrasting wins from the attacking performance against Hartlepool, as opposed to the dogged defensive performance against Newport. So you've seen both sides of the same team, and I found that actually quite interesting to see that we can muscle it out as well as play fluid, attractive football. So yeah, pleased, but I always look at after 10 games, not 2, but yeah, we're pleased. I certainly am pleased with 6 points out of 6, and it's great. Yeah, so encouraging. I wouldn't go beyond encouraging.
Yeah, absolutely. Very encouraging. Really proud of the players having battled through adversity, particularly in the most recent game, and proud of Michael and Wayne and the management staff. But of course it is a marathon, not a sprint, right? So 2 matches down, 44 to go, and a lot of football left to be played.
16 new players brought in so far this summer. A lot of people will be asking, is that our window done now, or is there still room for, more players to come in?
Yeah, it's not necessarily done. So there is room for. We are looking at some additional things, really just to shore up a couple areas. I'd say the good news in that is, we got 20 some days left in the window, and we have the majority of our business done. So we won't be left to kind of August 31st scrambling, as it were. But no, we're not necessarily finished with the signings yet.
Yeah, we moved early this year. I mean, I think I mentioned in a previous interview that Michael gave me 4 names before we'd finished kicking the ball last season, and those 4 names are here. So we moved pretty quickly off the blocks this year, and that was great because it gave them time to gel and get together. But I wouldn't expect another 6 or 7, but possibly 1 or 2.
After the good start to the season, supporters will obviously be looking up, and it's okay now to set targets, isn't it? But it's all about managing those expectations. But targets have been set, haven't they?
They have, yeah. I mean, we have a very long-term view, so I'll say the same thing right now that I said from the get-go, which is that our aim is to be back in League One. Our ultimate aim is to be a League One team that's pushing for promotion to Championship. And at no point have we put a fixed timeline about that, but that's our ambition. That matches the ambition that Michael's stated, and for this season specifically, I think we have the makings of a very good campaign. So I think taking some meaningful strides towards that is what we'd like to see this year.
Yeah, I don't want to burden Michael with any more than he's burdened with us anyway, which is a lot. But I think it's reasonable for us to have the playoffs as a target, but the minimum we'd expect is to be above 16th, which is where we finished last season. I think we're looking for a big improvement on that, and playoffs would be great. But as Ben says, we're taking a longer term view of it, but expect us to be looking for a big improvement on what you've seen over the last year or two, certainly.
So those were the key moments from that update from our co-chairman Ben Boycott and Lee Pomlett, where I caught up with them earlier at the training ground. I'm now joined by my colleague Paul. Paul's been with me throughout the start of all of this pre-match stuff, and Paul, I think from the start, we'll go from the start of the season. What a win last weekend against Hartlepool. It showcased exactly what the team could do as an attacking threat, and then Saturday's game against Newport showed what they can do defensively as well. So they've shown both sides of their game, haven't they, so far, Michael Flynn's team?
They have, and I think Michael Flynn will want to see what he saw against Hartlepool more often than not. Don't get me wrong, obviously. However, there was something extra impressive about Saturday for me. Yes, we didn't have a lot of the ball. Yes, we didn't create much chances. If well, you can count them on one finger, I think the chances we actually did create. But it was the sheer determination, it was the way the team battled, put their bodies on the line, really dug in. They made sure they got to half-time 0-0, they made sure they weathered that storm. They were really professional in that aspect. And then second half, they got their one chance, and Taylor Allen delivered a fantastic corner. It caused mayhem in the Newport box, caused mayhem in the press box, because we didn't have a clue who scored, as did everyone around us.
I still don't.
No, I don't even think the dubious goals panel know who scored yet. So that ball just caused all sorts of turmoil in the Newport 6-yard box. But the ball went in over the line, I won't even say back of the net. But then the Saddlers just was so professional in the way they managed the game and saw the game out. Again, bodies on the line, that charging down challenge from Brandon Comley, Peter Clark's header. It was a colossal performance from the Saddlers, and I think it's one we didn't see very much of last season. And that defensive solidity and that ability to see out a game and grind out a result when you're not out your best, I think is a real sign of a good team. And I thought that was more encouraging than sweeping aside Hartlepool, as brilliant as it was, and as excellent the team played, and as entertaining the team were that day. To show that side as well, I think, is a real sign of a good team.
It is, and I think somebody who's really brought that calmness, that composure to the back line is Peter Clark. He's somebody who's really impressed us off the pitch in the way that he handles himself, the fitness side of things, everything he does at the training ground, he does it to absolute precision. We spoke to Donovan Daniels prior to Saturday's game against Newport, who said that he modelled himself off Peter Clark. And I think him coming into it now, that experience is so key as the centre half. He's been head and shoulders above everybody in regards to what he's brought to this team, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think aspects of showing his experience on the pitch first and foremost was the one he cleared off the line in the first half, where he just saw Owen Evans make a dart off his line and he went and covered, and he just knew where to place himself to, you know, if the ball did go past Owen, he was there just to nod it off the line. There were so many occasions in that game where he just got himself into the position, or, you know, he bought the Saddlers a bit of time and, you know, time to relax. So in that respect, his experience was absolutely vital. He's a leader. I mean, even just in the warm-up, the way he was leading the boys, you know, telling them to step it up, even in the warm-up, you know, prior to the game where you might just go through the motions. He wasn't. He wanted, you know, the absolute standards to be as high as in the game or in training, in just the little pre-match warm-up when the players are stretching. And as you said, Tom, you know, the way he conducts himself at the training ground, the way, you know, he's someone to look up to for everyone. Even an experienced player like Donovan Daniels, to say he still looks up to someone like Peter Clark, he's been an unbelievable addition to this squad. And, you know, people might look at his age, and when you see him on the pitch, that doesn't even come to mind.
Yeah, I think it's clear to see why he was named in the League Two Team of the Year last year, because, like you say, people can look at the age of him at 40 and think, well, he shouldn't be playing. But all in all, I think we're now at 100 consecutive league games. I think that's what it is. I think he played 98 for Tranmere. He's now played 2 for us. So I think that is 100 competitive League Two matches consecutively, and it just goes to show that he really is a key credit to himself and to the clubs that he's played at as well.
I think that's a remarkable achievement for anyone of any age in football, let alone someone of 40 years old, to play 100 consecutive league games without, you know, on the trot is unbelievable. So that's a credit to him, you know, for the way he looks after himself, conducts himself, and obviously managers have that faith in him, and, you know, there's no reason why not. And, you know, it's a real example to a lot of younger players, and I think the majority of players in this squad will learn a lot from Peter Clark in so many aspects. So he's a real asset to this team, and, you know, there's been so many impressive performances, and we could probably go on all afternoon talking about them.
Yeah, we could, and hopefully there'll be more impressive performances in this evening's game against Swindon. When we spoke to Michael Flynn after the game at the weekend, he said that there may be changes. He just wants to freshen things up. So we could maybe see the likes of Flynn Clark get some minutes. We could maybe see Timmy Abraham get his first start. A little bit more of Tom Knowles maybe as well. And it'd be good to see how they can, you know, slot into a side that's done so well in the opening 2 games. Absolutely. I think what the Carabao Cup does offer, it gives you a chance to give other players some minutes who may not have had the minutes as of yet. But obviously Michael Flynn also alluded to the fact that he doesn't want any more injuries. He doesn't want to risk any more injuries or fatigue or anything like that, because all of a sudden the games are coming thick and fast, because we'll have a midweek game next week, a long trip to Barrow before another long trip to Gillingham, you know, 2 of the longest trips of the season in the space of 4 days. That's going to take a lot out of the boys. So not only will we be looking at, okay, who may be close to risk of maybe a muscular injury, for example, he'll probably be looking at, well, I've got 2 long trips to contend with as well. So he'll be bearing that all in mind, I imagine, as well. But also, like I said, bearing in mind, you know, players haven't had minutes yet, and tonight may give them a chance to impress as well. So it's intriguing, you know. I think the likes of Flynn Clark will be itching to get on the pitch. He's didn't manage to get on the pitch against Hartlepool and wasn't on the bench on Saturday. You know, you've got young Ronan Mayer as well. He made his debut. So once you make your debut, you know, that feeling of just wanting to play, well, you know, he'll have a taste for it now. Obviously Jack here as well, just back from injuries. I'll make another chance for him to get more minutes under his belt, perhaps a first start. Maybe he could get 60 odd. So there's plenty of nuggets there. Tom Knowles, you know, only joined us on Thursday, had 1 training session Friday. So now he's had a few more training sessions. He'll, you know, probably be in a better position to show what he can do. So there's plenty of nuggets there, isn't Tom? And I'm intrigued to see how the Saddlers line up, and I think it'll be an interesting game, because I think Saddlers have a score to settle with Swindon, I feel, based on last season. Yeah, we do, and we'll have that team news coming up for you very shortly. I'd like to say thanks again for joining us here on today's pre-match show. Let us know, like I said, who you thought scored that goal at the weekend. We're still a little bit unsure. Was it Timmy? Was it Peter Clark? Was it an own goal? Let us know in the comments section. And like I say, thanks for joining us, and come on you Saddlers.